So we are live. So let me just share this live to a couple places. All right, so sound is clear. So we live. If you hear me loud and clear, drop any comments that you're hearing loud and clear. I'm also trying to go. I'm also going to go live on TikTok. Um, so if you hear me, just drop yes, you're hearing loud and clear. Also drop your school so you can know what school you're from or where you're from. Share the link to your class group. Give the live a thumbs up so that YouTube can recommend it to other CSEC students. Yeah, drop a thumbs up in the, I don't know, how do you react? However you react, drop a reaction so that YouTube can push the live. All right, so we have approximately, so let me go live on TikTok. I'm trying out TikTok live to see how that will work. All right, so let me add a topic. CSEC mathematics. So I will begin in a few. Um, so you had 122 Borby Site, St. Joseph, LBI, Shelton. We all the way in Shelton, Matthews Ridge. Good. So let's go. I think I'm live on TikTok as well. So let me see how that looks and then we'll begin. Let me see. Okay, good. Mic test, 1, 2. TikTok, y'all hearing me loud and clear? How we looking TikTok? Good. So let's go. So we're looking at, so for those of you who are new, I did about 2 lives or so in which the first live I did some algebra. The second live I think I did some relations and functions and coordinate geometry. And this live I'll be looking at some statistics and probability and so on. So if you want some brushing up on algebra, you can go and check out those previous lives. All right. So let me just do one last share. Let me just share this live to Facebook and then I'll get started. How we looking, chat? How we looking? Exam is couple days, about 4 weeks or so. Yeah, cook or yeah, cooking. You cooked or you cooking? So let's go. So the first question says 100 students were surveyed on the amount of money they spent on data for their cell phones during a week. The table below shows the results as well as the midpoint for each class interval. And it says, using the table, determine the modal class of the amount of money spent. So the modal class for the amount of money spent. So from looking at that, what is the answer? This one is nice. When we talk about mode, we know we're talking about the most frequently occur, in this case, money. So mode is not the thing with the highest frequency. So you have mean mode and median. Mode is the easiest, median is the middle one, and mean is the average. So let's go. So it says determine the modal class amount of the money spent. So if you look here, we have 7, 11, 31. Obviously, 31 is the one with the highest frequency. So the modal amount of money spent is not 31. Don't be carried away and go and put 31. The mode is this one here, because this is basically telling you x is greater than 70, but less than or equal to 80. So that is the modal amount of money spent. 31 students spent between that amount. So for this answer, it will be x is greater than 70, but also less than or equal to 80. That is the modal amount of money spent for. Nice and easy, 1 mark. And we share the live, share the live. Share the live to your colleagues, your classmates. I know some students are in school, some students home. You prefer to study by yourself, you get more done. So share the live to students sit in CSEC in your group chat, on your WhatsApp, on your Instagram. All right, so you live on both TikTok and YouTube. All right. So that was a nice and easy one to start off. So the next one says calculate an estimate of the mean amount of money spent. Give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. All right. And this one went for a nice and easy 2 marks. So for mean, so whenever we're dealing with a frequency table and we want to find the mean, the formula for mean is basically this fancy symbol, we call it sigma, but it's basically the sum. So let me write it. The mean is the sum of f times x. F is the frequency. X is, in this case, the midpoint. So it's the sum of that divided by the sum of f. So we need to just find fx, which is f times x, which is basically this number here times this number. So we added an extra column. That is why this question was worth 2 marks, because we had to add in an extra column. So we add in that extra column, and then we find f of x for each one. So 7 times 55, I gotta use my calculator. 7 times 55 will give me 385. 11 times 65 will give me 715. 31 times 75 will give me 2,325. 29 times 85 will give me 2,465, and 22 times 95 will give me 2,090. So that is fx, f times x. All right, that is f times x. So this sum of f of x means, it's just a nice way to put it, we just add up all of these numbers. That is what the sum of f of x means. Not f of x, f times x. So all we need to do is add up all of these here, take your time, add them up carefully. So this will be 385 plus 715 plus 2,325 plus 2,465 plus 2,090. When we add up all of that, we should get 7,980. So that is the sum of f times x. So to find the mean here, it would be 7,980, all divided by the sum of f. So here we have f, so we just need to add up all of that. Do we need to add all? We know 100 students were surveyed. So when we add up this total, we should get 100, but we can still double check, So 7 plus 11 plus 31 plus 29 plus 22. Yeah, we got 100. So the mean will be this divided by that. So we don't need a calculator to divide this. You know, we divide 7,980 by 100, we will get 79.80. So the mean is 79.80, and this is already to two decimal place, so there's no need to do anything big and fancy. So that is the mean there. All right. That is the mean. I see persons on YouTube already got it. Oh, look at anybody from any of my students looking on YouTube, any of my students on TikTok, students that I teach, students in my class. All right, TikTok, how we looking? Anybody got it answer? So TikTok, you need to grab a book and so on. The persons on TikTok, grab a book. All right, Kamisha. So Kamisha is on both YouTube and TikTok. Okay, Kamisha. See you on YouTube. All right. So that was a nice and easy one. So the mean is just the sum of f of x divided by the sum of f. And as easy as that, nice and easy to mark. So let me drag this at the bottom. So nothing big and fancy for mean. You just need to ensure that you get this column if they didn't give you. And just multiply f times x to give you the answers here. All right. Shout we out. Now, as if you got a fancy name, I can't shout out. Anyways, so shout out to all of my students and all the students around Guyana and in the Caribbean. All right, so let's carry on. Don't worry, at the end, before the live finish, I'll shout out y'all, don't worry. All right. So TikTok, I see we at 391 and YouTube at 190. Nice. Good. So next one, Danielle reports that the median amount spent is $84. Briefly explain why Damien's report card could be correct. So this is going for 1 mark. So they told us that Damien reports that the median is $84, and they want us to explain why that could be correct. So the thing is, they're basically asking us to explain how Damien found the median. So when we're dealing with frequency table and median, in order to find the median, the middle is the middle number, the number in the middle. And if there's a nice easy formula that we use to find median. So median is basically n plus 1 divided by 2. And n is the total amount in the total amount of, in this case, students surveyed, divided by, well, you add 1 to that and you divide that by 2. That will give us, in this case, it's 100. So it's 100 plus 1 divided by 2 will give us 101 divided by 2 will give us 50.5. So this is basically telling us that the median falls between the 50th number and the 54th number. Right in the middle between that, that is where you will find the median. All right, that is how you find the median. So we basically need to, this is already in order. When you find the median, you need to put them in ascending or descending order. This is already in ascending order from smallest to largest. So all we need to do is find which number will appear at the 50th and which number will appear at the 54th. So to do that, we see when we arrange this, we start off with 7 numbers, and then we add another 11 to 7, we'll get 18. So we didn't reach the median yet. And then we add another 31 to that 18. 31 plus 18, we'll get, should get 49. Let me just double check that. 18 plus 31. Yeah, you'll get 49. We still didn't reach the median yet. So we see the median number will fall right here. Right here, because when you start counting from here, you'll get 50, 51, 52, and so on. So the median number will fall right in this range, which will be right in this set. All right, so, and he reported the median, Damien reported the median is $84. So $84 indeed will fall inside this range. So we need to say why he could be correct. We can say, this is going for 1 mark, and CXC wants, they want to give you, as I told my students last night, CXC, they want to give you these marks. So it does need to state a reason. So our reason would be Why you could be correct? Because, let me see how I can word this nicely. Because the middle, this is what middle amount spent. Middle amount spent can be found in the interval, class interval, 80 x is greater than 80, but less than or equal to 90. And that is our reason, because the middle amount spent can be found in that interval when you do a little arranging and so forth. How are we looking? How are we looking for that one? How are we looking? How are we looking, chat? We just start, for those of you that now joining, we just start. How are we looking? YouTube and TikTok, everybody good there? So that is that for 1 mark. So the next one, says the two-way contingency table gives information on the mode of transportation to school for 100 students. So complete the table by inserting the missing values for 2 marks. So with this one here, you just need some amount of common sense to complete this table. So we got boy, girl, and the total. And we got walk, 15 boys walk, and the total will be 23. That means if you want to insert the missing one here, 23 subtract 15, that'll give us 8. All right, because when you add up 8 and 15, we get a total of 23. All right, the next one, we see when we go across, in total we have 48 boys. To find the missing number here, we know 15 plus 14 will give us 29, and 48 minus 29 will give us 19. So we see 19 is missing here, right? Out of 15, 19, and 14, you'll get 48. So next one, we see this total here is missing. So you can either add across here, or you can just subtract the 100 from the 48. You know, they should give us 52. All right, 48 plus 52 is 100. But let me just add across to see if I'll get that answer. So 8 plus 18 plus 26 will give us indeed 52. And then the last one is missing is right here. So we can just add the 18 and the 19. 19 plus 18 would give us 37. And then you can add across there to see if we're correct. So we know 23 plus 37 plus 40 will give us 100. And yeah, we can, if this comes in the exam, you know, you can leave the exam comfortably knowing that you got full marks. You got full marks. So those of you that wondering what I'm working, I'm looking at statistics, all of the statistics questions over the last 5 years, both January and May, June. All right, all of the statistics. As you can see, as I go through the papers, as I go through the questions, you'll see they're very similar. All right, they're very similar in terms of how they're asked. So once you practice, once you're good with these here, doesn't matter how they bring it, you know, you'll be able to work it. So can you record it, please? Record what the live? Remember, it's on YouTube, so the recording, the live will be there, right? But I'll advise it's better. It's better to stay and watch it live so that you can, you know, ask questions and so on, and you can always come back later on if you want. How long will the session go? No, until we tired. Remember, exam is in 20-something days. So until we tired. Whenever you're tired, you know. But let's go. A student is selected at random. What is the probability that he or she was being driven to school that day? Now, this is going for 1 mark. It's actually very easy, but they need to be careful with these questions. These kind of questions, especially when dealing with tables like these. So they said a student is selected at random. They didn't say a boy or a girl, a student. So it can be either a boy or a girl. So to find probability, it's the total number of possible outcome. In this case, total number of students here is 100. Over at the top, we'll put the total number of favorable outcomes, the things that we want. So what is the probability that he or she is being driven to school? So we need to find the amount of students that drive. All right, so the amount of students that drive, we see 40 students are driven to school. So the probability that a student drive will be 40 over 100. 100 is the total number of students we have, and 40 at the top. So of course we can't leave this 40 over 100. We got to break this down. This 0 go with that 0. 2 can go into 10 and 4. So 2 into 4, 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the probability here is 2 over 5. Or if you want 2 divided by 5, it give us 0.4. You can represent that as 0.4 since it's a nice and easy decimal, or you can even represent it as 40%. Probability can be represented either as a fraction, a decimal, or a percentage. Either one of these, you're gone clear. You can leave it as a fraction, you'll get your full marks. You can put it as a decimal, you get your full marks. You can put it as a percentage, you'll get your full marks. However, whatever is your, I don't want to say poison, however you prefer. All right, how we looking, chat? All right, good, I see persons on. So do they bring back questions? Not really. Do they bring back similar concept, but not similar questions? How did I get 0.4? 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. Punch it in calculator, you'll get that, right? 2 divided by 5, you get 0.4. So let's carry on. Now this one says, this is the one we got to be careful with. One of the girls is selected at random. What is the probability that she did not cycle to school? So the probability that she did not. So they put not in all caps. So you got to be careful to that not. So if she didn't cycle, that means she walk or she drive. So they say that girl is chosen at random. So we're not looking at the boys, just looking at this part here. So the probability that she did not cycle will be, in this case, the total number of possible outcomes will be the total number of girls. In this case, it's 52. Over the total number of favorable outcomes, the things that we want. All right, so we have 8 here, and we have 26. Because if she does not cycle, that means she walk and drive. So 8 plus 26. 8 plus 26, you can use a calculator if you know you'll get anxious in the exam. 8 plus 26 will give us 34. All right. So 34 over 52, we know we can't leave that as it is. We can break that down further. 34 divided by 2, that'll be what, 17? And 52 divided by 2 will give us 26. So we can leave this as 17 over 26. All right, that's the answer. If we divide 17 by 26, we'll get a very long decimal. So we can leave this as 17 over 26. All right, and that is the answer. How we looking? How we looking? YouTube, how we looking? TikTok. TikTok, we cooking. YouTube, we cooking. Who's cooking? YouTube or TikTok? All right. Good. Cooking, we looking good. TikTok, YouTube say Komisha. Shout out to Komisha. Komisha, big up yourself, Komisha. Good. All right, so let's proceed. So as we go down, you'll see how the questions come, right? All right. So YouTube said they're cooking with gas. The people on YouTube said they're cooking with gas. TikTok, what you are cooking with? You gotta cook better than gas. What else you could cook with? Cook faster. Diesel. So TikTok cooking with diesel. All right. YouTube cooking with gas, TikTok cooking with diesel and gasoline. So we can burn down the house. All right. So let's go. 60 students took an algebra test, which comprise 15 multiple choice questions. The number of correct answers that each student obtained is recorded in the table below. So remember, you should have a book and you could try to work before me. I will work and explain. So you can try to work before me. All right. So using the table, determine the number of students who had exactly 13 correct answers for 1 mark. So CXC was feeling very generous. And this is the kind, right? This is the kind of questions you will find. Um, you know, give weak marks, especially in the first question. They want to prime you up so that you'll start off nice. So number of students who had exactly 13 correct answers. So the number of correct answers here, so we have 13 correct answers. The number of students who had exactly that would be 11. So you can say 11 students. All right, and that went for 1 mark. Next one, the modal number of correct answers. So you need to be careful here. The modal number of correct answers they're asking you for. So the modal number of correct answers would be the one with the highest frequency, or the one that, in this case, the highest number of students. So we see the highest number of students here that got the correct answer would be 14. But students would make mistake and they go and put 14 here as the modal number of correct answers. So remember, they're asking for the correct answers. The answer has to come from this column. So we see 14 is the highest number of students, and the one that aligns with that is 9. So in this case, it would be 9 correct answers, or you can just say 9, right? So don't make the mistake and put 14. The answer is 14 is the one that occur. 14 is the most number of students that gain an answer, but the answer is actually the correct answers that correspond to that. All right, it's very easy, but students lose mark easily because of that simple mistake. All right, so I see what I see a lot of persons on YouTube saying 9, nice. What year is this? So the median number of correct answers now. So as I said just now earlier, for those of you who were on the live since the beginning, we got mean, mode, and median. Mean is the average. Mode is the one that occurs the most. Median is the middle number. So they want the median number of correct answers. So remember the formula for median, as we talked about earlier, is n plus 1 divided by 2. N is in this case, the total number of students. You add 1 to that and you divide that by 2. So in this case, the total is 60 students. So you can go and add up all of this, but you'll get 60. So it's 60 plus 1 divided by 2. So this is 61 divided by 2, which will give us 30.5. So 30.5 is not the median. That is the place where you'll find the median. All right? That is the place where you'll find the median. So this 30.5 is telling you that the median will fall between the 30th number and the 31st number. All right, so you need to find what is the 30th number and the 31st, and then you divide that answer by 2 and you'll get the median. So in order to get that, it's already in order from smallest to largest. So we see 8 occurs 6 times. This is like if you have 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 6 times. And then you got 9, 14 times. But I won't do all of that. I'll just add and see which number will fall in this range. So 6 plus 14 will give me 20. So I didn't meet the median as yet. I add another 2, I get 22. Still didn't meet the median. I add another 6, I'll get 28. Still didn't meet the median. And I add another 2, I'll get 30. So I know the 30th number will be 12. So the 30th number will be 12. And then the 31st number will fall right here, so which will be 13. This is 12 plus 13 divided by 2, because the median falls between the 30th number and the 31st. So the median here will be 12, and 13 would be, that should be 25 divided by 2, which will give me 12.5. So the median is 12.5. All right. This is some persons are saying 12, so it's 12.5. All right. So good. So that is a median there. And that went for 1 mark. So the median is 12.5. Are we looking? Are we looking YouTube? Cooking? Cooking? Should use my slogan, we beating the maths. I use cooking. We beating the maths or the maths beating we? Right? Oh yeah, oh yeah, we beat it. How bad we beating the maths? Or how bad the maths beating us? So let's carry on. So the next one, the probability that a student chosen at random had at least 12 correct answers. At least. So students tend to mix up at least and at most and so forth. When I was a student, as I would always tell my students, and if they're on a live, they'll probably they know what I'm about to say. So how do I especially in an exam, you want to at least can be a confusing word, right? I would always ask myself, put myself in a scenario, you're going out with a friend, your friend tell you, hey, bring at least 5,000, to this party. At least 5,000, that means I have to bring $5,000 and more. So at least means wherever, in this case, at least 12 means 12 and more. All right. So always put yourself in those kind of scenarios. So at least 12 correct answers. So let's see. At least means 12 and more. So I'll erase all of this. So at least means 12 and more. So all of these students here will get at least 12 correct answers. So this would be 2 plus 11 is 13. All right, let me use my calculator. 2 plus 11 plus 9 plus 10 will give me 32. I could double check my calculation, right? All right, 32. So 32. So probability at least 12 would be. So we know it's 32 at the top. And a student is chosen at random. So that means the total number of students is 60 again. So 60 would be the total number of possible outcomes. So 32 over 60. And of course, we can't leave this as it is. So 32 divided by 2 is 16. 60 divided by 2 is 30. And we can go further. This will be 8. And this will be 15. So here is 8 over 15. So the probability at least 12 is 8 over 15. All right. So those of you that now joining on YouTube and TikTok, we working all of the statistics and probability questions from about 5 years ago, from January 2026 all the way to 5 years ago, which would be like 2021. Right? All of the statistics questions, and this will be all of the number 5s, all of the questions that come in number 5. So if it's still easy, we already worked quite a few amount of years, which means you probably would have gotten full marks in that year exam. All right, these things tend to be easy but tricky. Not tricky in the sense that they're out to trick you, but you need to be careful with the words and the things that they bold and so forth. All right, so let's carry on. So let's look at this one. A group of students wrote physics exam. Each of the students achieved a grade 1, 2, 3, or 4. The pie chart below shows the results. 39 students achieved a grade 3. All right, determine the total number of students who wrote the exam. All right, so 39 students achieved a grade 3. So we see the total number of degrees for a grade 3 was 117 degrees. All right. So if 39 students gain that, we can find the total number of students who wrote the exam. How many marks is going for 2 marks? We can say 117 over the total number of degrees, which is 360. multiplied by the total number of students that we have, which we don't know, which is x, is equal to 39. This is one way we can work this. X is the total number of students that took the exam. Because if you find 117 degrees out of 360 of that total, we'll get 39. So we can set up that. So this will be 117 times x will be 117 x over 360 is equal to 39. So now we can solve this. We can have 117 x is equal to this 360 is divided. When we take it over, we'll multiply. So 39 multiplied by 360. That will give us 14,040. So 117x is equal to that. So x will be equal to this 117 is multiplying. When we take it over, we'll divide. So we'll have 14,040 divided by 117, which will give me 120. All right, so the number of students total number of students who wrote the exam would be 120 students. All right, this is one way. This is one way we can work this out. All right, this is one way we can work this out. Another way we can work this out is probably, let me see, probably not using algebra. Let's see if we can work this out without algebra. So instead of doing 117 over 360, let's see if we do 360 over 117 times the 39, and let's see what we'll get. So this is without algebra. So we just flip this because we want to find the total number of students. So let's go. 360 times 39. That would give me the same 14,040 divided by 117, which will give me 120 students. So this is another way we can do it without the algebra. So if you solve the algebra, you can work it like this. If not, you can just work it like this and you'll get the same full marks. All right. I would always, resort to using algebra because, I always like algebra, but if you don't like algebra, you can do this as well. All right, how we looking? How we looking? So that was 2 marks. So let's carry on. So they incorporated some ratio here now. So they said the ratio of the number of students who achieved a grade 1, 2, or 4 is 2 to 4 to 3. A student pass the exam if they achieve a grade 1, 2, or 3. How many students pass the exam? 2 marks. Wow, a lot of work here, boy. So the ratio for grade 1, 2, and 3 is 2, 1, 2, and 4 is 2 to 4 to 3. So let me write it at the top here. 2 to 4 to 3. So this is a 1, this is a 2, and this is a 4. So they want to know how many students pass the exam. So let's see what we can use. So here's the thing. So we know 39 students here, and we know we have 120 students in total. So they gave us the ratio for grade 1, 4, and 3. All right, they gave us a 3. So what we can do, we know 39 students make up grade 3. So to find the remaining students who make up 1, 2, and 4, it will simply be 120 minus the 39, which will give me 81. All right, so I know 81 students, they have to be shared among these 3 ratios. So the most important thing with ratio, the most important thing that you're doing with ratio, whenever you're dealing with ratio, the most important thing is to find the value of one share. All right, that is the most important thing for ratio. To find the value of one share. That is the most important thing. So let's see how we can find. So we know the total number of shares is 81. So we know this is shared between the ratio 2 to 4 to 3. Let me just make sure that ratio is correct. 2 to 4 to 3. Yeah, so to find the value of one share, it will be we add all this ratio together. So 2 plus 4 is 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 and 3, 9. So one share will be 81 divided by 9. which will be 9. So the value of one share is 9. So now that we have the value of one share, we can use this to find the amount of students that pass the exam. Remember, in order to pass, they need a 1, a 2, or a 3. So let's find the amount of students who achieved a 1. So the ratio for 1 is 2, and the value of one share is 9. So this will be 2 times 9, which will be 18. So 18 students achieved a 1. And then the ratio for 2 is 4. So to find the total number of students who achieved a 2 would be 4 times the value of one share, which is 9. So 9 fours, last time I checked, is 36. So 36 students achieved a 2. And we already know 39 students achieved a 3. So we already know 39 students achieved that. So to find the amount of students that pass, it will be 18 plus 36 plus 39, which will give me 93. I see somebody in the chat already got the 93. All right, 93. So 93 students pass. All right, so 93 students pass the exam. So let me carry this down at the bottom. So this went for 2 marks. Nice and easy work, but we just had to, nice and easy question, but we just had to do some work. So you can put a little statement, 93 students pass the exam. All right, for 2 marks. So most important thing for ratio, to find the value of one shape, one shear. All right. How much marks you need for a grade 1? In order to get a grade 1, you gotta fall within this part of the pie chart, right? All right. I know you're referring to the actual CSEC, but let's do your best. Aim to do your best in the exam. All right, so let's carry on. So determine the value of the angle for the sector representing grade 1 in the pie chart. And this is probably 1 mark. So grade 1, we see 18 students fall in the grade 1 part. So this is 18. So the one, the value of the angle. So this is 18 over a total of, we have a total students of 120. And to find the amount of degrees this will take up in the pie chart, we obviously have to multiply this by the total number of degrees in a circle is 360. So we can do our little mathematics. So this 0 go with that 0. 12 ones 12. 12 into 36 is 3. So 18 times 3, they give us 54 degrees. All right, 54 degrees will make up the grade 1. All right, see YouTube beating TikTok, man. YouTube chopping the answers before me, man. Nice. TikTok, y'all don't take that. So I could pay you to do the exam for me to get a grade 1. Yeah, you could pay me to take the risk. I'll take just a slight 39 million US. A slight 39 million of untraceable cash, like in the movies, the helicopter. Right? All right, so let's carry on. So I think that was another year. That was another year of questions. All right. That was another year of questions. So that one, how was that? How was that year? Good. Yeah, beat the maths or the maths beat you. You cooked or you're cooking. All right, how we looking? Light things. All right. Jonathan saying light things. Hope that is your name, John or John. Anyways, let me call you John. All right, so any of my students still here? Let's ask me that. Leon, what's up? Your classmate here. Gooms, classmate. All right. I had to think back. Gooms. Which classmate? Primary, secondary? Anyway, so let's carry on. So now we into another part of the paper that deals with graph. Now these graph things, you should love these graph things, right? So hopefully you'll understand these graph things. So here's the thing, if you need to review when I'm done with this graph, after the video you want to review, you can go on YouTube and you can look for this video. I'm also streaming on YouTube, right? So graphs are lovely. And so ensure you understand how to work these cumulative frequency curve graph. They love to bring this. CXC, they love to bring this. I didn't paper one or paper two. So let's go. So the cumulative frequency diagram shows the information around about the distance D that each of 120 students walks to school on a particular day. So CXC, they love 120 students for some reason, because in the previous question, in the previous year, they had 120 again. Probably just a coincidence, or probably it's an easy number to, with a lot of factors. Anyways, so we have the cumulative frequency there. Let's see what they asked. How many students walk at most? So last night I was working this with my students and I stressed on this word at most. So they put it in all caps, not because when they were typing up the question, the computer accidentally pressed the caps lock button, but because they want you to pay attention to the word at most. Whenever they put anything in all caps or they bold it, you pay keen attention. You think about it for a bit. Don't think about it too long, but sim on it a bit. Sim on it a bit, and then you go and answer the question. All right, sim on it. So at most 1K. So here's the thing. They want to know how many students. The answer that they want to know would be students. So whenever you're dealing with these graphs and you have to use the graph to answer the question, you either on this graph, you're either going up and across, or you're going across and then down. All right, and read the answer what is at the bottom. So that will determine the question. That will determine the way that you go will determine how the question is asked. In this case, it asks us how many students walked at most 1 km. So our answer, we got to finish at the part that deals with the students, which is at the cumulative frequency. This tells you how many of students here. So we need to finish on this part of the graph. That means we're going up and then across and then read across. That will be the answer. So to get this answer, how many students walked at most 1 km? So of course we go to 1 km on the distance. So we go up 1 km. I'm using a nice blue. And then when we reach the graph, we go straight across. All right, we go straight across, which would be right here. So this would be the amount of students that walked at most 1 km. Now, don't be carried away and you do all the hard work and then you read across this thing incorrectly. So we see here is 20, here is 40. The middle here will obviously be 30. So let's see how much we're counting in. So let's see, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. So we're counting in twos. So this will be 32, 34, 36. So 36 students walked at most 30. At most means this is the highest they can go. We want all these students that fall here, they walked at most 1 km, all the students here. So we don't need to do anything to that 36. We just put that as the answer as it is. So our answer here would be 36 students. All right, 36 students. But I see TikTok and both everybody cooking, TikTok and YouTube. Love to see it. All right, brilliant. So let's go. Next one we have using the cumulative frequency diagram, determine an estimate of the median. So we got to use a graph again. They want the median. So the median, we can't find the median students. We got to find the median distance walked. All right. So that means we finish it. We have to finish at the bottom here. When you want to find median into quartile range and so on, we finishing at the bottom here. All right. Always remember that. So that means we're going across and then down. and then read off this answer for median, interquartile range, semi-interquartile range, and so forth. So let's find the median. The median, so we first got to find the middle number of students, because this is an estimate, right? So the middle number of students, we have the total, which is 120. The middle of 120 would be 60. So 60, but 60 is not the median. Remember, we got to read across somewhere here at the bottom. So we got to go across from 60. And then we come down. So the median will fall right here. Once again, don't do all the hard work and then lose your marks because you didn't read this part correctly. All right. So if this is 1, this is 1.5. Let's see how much you counting in. So we counted in, let's see, 1.5. That means you counting in, let me see, if this is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. Yeah, so we counting every two that we skip, we counting in 0.1. So this here would be 1.1. This here would be 1.2. The one that we want is 1.3. Here's 1.4 and here's 1.5. So indeed, it's 1.3 is the median distance covered. So 1.3 km is the median distance covered. All right, good. Love to see it. Love to see it. Love to see it. It man, like my students gone. I ain't seen none of them in the chat. Eh, eh. Or they gone over to TikTok. So the next one I want, the lower quartile. So we got 4 quartiles. We got Q1, Q2, Q3. Yeah, these are the main ones, right? These are the ones that you will use. We got Q1, which is we got Q1, which is the lower quartile. Q2, anybody want to tell me what Q2 is? Let me see who will tell me what Q2 is, and I'll bring up that person. All right, Sammy says she's here. What is Q2? What is another name for Q2? I'll bring up that person. Oh, all right, I see somebody. They just got a flag as the thing, so I can't call him. I don't know. All right, so the goat, Eddie the goat, and also yeah, I got some names. I can't recall his name of this person that got the answer right on YouTube because it's not a nice name, but what is wrong with you kids? Why y'all can't name yourself? You know, if you name Leon Beaton, name yourself Leon Beaton on TikTok. Well, y'all gotta name yourself the goat, lonely reaper, and a dot. One time I saw somebody with name themselves a dot. I'm not sure if I want to search you on Facebook. Or not you, not Facebook. Yeah, probably. Yeah. If I want to search you on TikTok, I'll probably search a dot. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so it's the median, right? The Q2 is the median and Q3 will be the upper quartile. All right. So my students just messaged me to tell me that they're cooking on both TikTok and YouTube. Right? Good. Love to see it. So the lower quartile is Q1. So let me go up. So Q1 is basically a quarter of the total, right? A quarter of the total. So it's a quarter of 120, which would be 120 divided by 4. The last time I checked, that would be 30. 120 divided by 4. Let me see. 120 divided by 4. Yeah, 30. So the Q1, we can find that at 30. But remember, 30 is not the answer. 30 is where we'll go across from. So we go across from 30. So 30 is right here. So we go across from 30. We connect to the graph and then we come down. So the lower quartile will go right there. Remember, we counting in every 2 will give us 1. So this is 0 0.5, 0 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. This would be 0.9. So the lower quartile for the distance covered would be 0.9 km. Okay, okay, Lilo. All right, so that is a lower quartile. The next thing we want is the interquartile range. So the interquartile range, now for some reason people think this interquartile range is some big fancy thing, right? This interquartile range is some big fancy thing. So the interquartile range is basically Q3 subtract Q1. Whatever you found for Q1, in this case, we found that as 0.9. You find Q3 and you just subtract, and that is the interquartile range. Nothing big and fancy. That's why it's worth 1 mark. So we already found Q1. Next, we got to find is Q3. So obviously, if Q1 is a quarter, Q3 would be what of the total? Let me ask again. Let me get y'all involved. If Q1 is a quarter, what would Q3 be? Let me see who will get it for us. Drop it in the chat. I am looking at YouTube and TikTok. All right. All right. See, I see. Prodigy got it correct. And also Marielle. All right. Good. Two reasonable names. All right. Those are the persons got it correct there. And I'll call you Mr. Lonely. Mr. Lonely got it correct as well. All right. So it's three quarter. All right. Three quarter, which is 3/4, right? Or 75%, as some people would say. So 3/4 of 120. So 3/4 times 120. 3/4 of 120. So 3 times 120 will give us that divided by 4 will give us 90. So 90 is where we'll find Q3. So remember, 90 is not Q3. Some students would go while up themselves and go and do 90 minus 30 equal 60 and come on the exam smiling, right? But absolutely wrong, right? So we got to find what distance is attached to that 90. So if here is 80, here's 190 would obviously be in the middle here. So this is 90. So let's find the one attached. So we go across from 90. And then we come down. So we see we come down all the way here. Right here. All right. Good. So let me zoom up. So we want here. So you want there. So what would be there? Here is 1.5. We did all the hard work. We can't not get these marks. We know here will obviously be 1.6. So what in the middle would be? Let me see in the chat. 1.55. Good. Correct. 1.55. All right. 1.55. So that's in the middle, right? That's between 1.5 and 1.6. 1.55. So Q3 would be 1.55. So now to work this out, Q3 is 1.55, subtract 1.3, which will give us 0.25. Is it 25 or 65? Let me see. Oh, that's checking. So that is that for 1 mark. All right, 1 mark, nice and easy. So that is that. Next one. Do you have to use the broken lines? Oh, you don't necessarily have to use the broken lines. I use the broken lines so you can see the little separation. But yeah, I would advise use your pencil. Use a pencil, right? Use a pencil, so if you make a mistake and erase it. Don't want to use pen and then you accidentally draw the wrong place and the diagram looks messed up. Use a pencil to draw your lines, right? All right, so TikTok is telling me that they discovered inactivity in my life. So am I still live on TikTok? And TikTok just told me that they discovered inactivity because I probably have it on mute. So they were about to end the live. Oh my. So so it's the wrong thing, right? So thank you for pointing that out. So I was looking at the median, yeah? So nobody, yeah, I was looking at the median. So no, it will actually be Q1, which is 0.9, eh? 0.9. So thank you for that. I was looking at this answer here. All right. Thank you for that. So the answer is actually 1.5 subtract 0.9, 1.55 subtract 0.9, which is 0.65, right? All right. So now I was actually looking at this. So that is why you need to check over, right? Check over your work. You won't have everybody on TikTok looking to guide you, right? So double check your work. That is the important. As bright as you may be, you want to double check. As much as you may know, yes, I lost the mark. And I did that on purpose, right? I did that on purpose to show you why it's important to check over your work. Right? I did that. I did that on purpose to emphasize on the point that you should always check over. All right. So I hope that worked. I hope you see the importance of checking over. So the next one, a student is chosen at random. What is the probability that the student walked for more than? Now, important word here, right? More than, they put it in bold. They bold more than. More than 1.5K to school. More than. I didn't bold it because they want to bold, right? They bold it because you got to simmer on it. Look at it, read it, simmer on it, and then answer the question. So more than 1.5K. So let's go to the graph and get more than the number of students who walk more than 1.5K. So we see, let me erase this, So let me erase. So 1.5, let me erase this here. So 1.5 is here. So I draw up on this nice line. Let me zoom up. I draw up on this line. Let me say I draw here. All right, that should take me like there, and then I draw across. I see that would take me right here. So if here is 90, here is 80, so let me see how much we're counting. 82, 84, 86, 88, 90. So we're counting in twos. So here will obviously be, one that we want to find would be 82. So here's the thing. This is why you got to be careful the more than. Let me see how many marks this question went for. 2 marks, right? So more than. Say one of the students who walk more than 82. So remember, more than 1.5, sorry. So all the students below here, all the students here, they walked less than 1.5. All the students below here, they walk less than 1.5. So if you want to find the students who walk more than 1.5, it will be the students at the top here. These remaining students at the top here. So it's not 82. It's 120 minus the 82. That will give us the amount of students that walk more than, because those are the students that will fall in. Let me use another color. Let me use this color. Those are the students who will fall in around this range here, more than. These are the students who walk more than. All right. Remember, here is Here's 3.0. If we draw up to 3.0 and draw across, that will take us across there. So all of these students here walk more than. So to find the amount of students that walk more than 1.5, it will be 120 minus 82, which will give us 120 minus 82 will give us 38. So 38 students walked more than 1.5K. So that's why you need to be careful, eh? Need to be careful with the more than and at most. Go to 38. So 38. So I have 38 there, but they want the probability that a student chosen at random walks for more than 1.5K. So the total number of students we have is 120. So the probability more than 1.5 km will be, so we know the total is 120. And the amount of students that we want is 38. So this is 38 over 120. And we can break this down. 38 divided by 2 will give us 19. 120 divided by 2 will give us 60. So we can have 19 over 60. I don't think we can break that down further. So we can leave that as 90 over 60 and we got our 2 marks. And if we put that as a decimal, we get a very long recurring decimal. So we can leave this as 19 over 60. Nice and easy probability. All right, now we looking chat. Sorry, I forget how to calculate. Okay. Yes, 38 over 120. How we looking? We beating the maths or the maths beating me? TikTok, YouTube, how we looking? And these YouTube people quiet, you know, man. I don't like these YouTube people quiet. Like all the talkers gone over to TikTok. Beaten, beaten. All right. So the people on YouTube, where y'all beating the maths with? YouTube, where y'all beating it with? TikTok, where y'all beating it with? Let me see let me see what's going on. Somebody say TikTok say maths in the trench. That's what I'm seeing. So TikTok say they beating with a bot. With their brains. Okay. All right, so let's carry on. So for those of you that now join, we are looking at statistics and probability, all of the questions that fall within the CSEC exam, statistics and probability, and this would be all of the number fives. The full number 5 question we're looking at for about the last 5 years, which will be January and May, June. So this would be like 10 papers in total. All right. Those of you that didn't know, I did another video previously on algebra, and after algebra, I think I did relations and functions and graph, another live, and now I'm at number 5. So yeah, I have some videos on bearings too. So I'm like, you say I was going YouTube and check them out, right? So let's carry on. So as you can see, as we go down, you see the questions, they are different, but the concepts remain very similar. All right. Questions remain very, very similar. So this one says, complete the table and use the information to calculate an estimate of the mean distance walked by students on that day. So this one's kind of blurry, or is it my eyes? Let me see. All right, so it's my eyes, right? It's kind of blurry though. So we have the midpoint here, and we have the number of students, and we have f times x. All right, so let's complete this table. So the thing is, even if you don't know what is midpoint, right? For some reason, if you don't know what midpoint is, if I was a student, a smart thing I would do, if I forget what is midpoint, I would, all right, they already find the midpoint here. So I would say midpoint, middle. You know, I would go and see what I could use to find the midpoint. So just add up these two things and you divide it by 2. 0 plus 0.5 equal that, you divide it by 2, you see you get 2.5, and yeah, by the same work. And I try it with another one, 0.5 plus 1 divided by 2. And you see it works. And you do the same thing for this. This will be 1.5 plus 2. And you divide that by 2, you get 1.75. So 1 mark. It's 1 mark. How many marks is it for? 3 marks. So 3 marks. I had to fill up 5. So they also say estimate the mean too. So let's go. So number of students. Is it that I have to use the graph? Let me see. This is D, so I have to use the graph to complete this table. So let me erase all the things that I have here. So the midpoint is 1.75. So let's find the number of students there. So the thing is, if I just find one, I can find the total because I know it's 120. So let me see, 1.75. So 1.75, that'll be like if here is 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.75 would be right here. So I can go up. I go up. And I reach here. Then I come across. So they give us a nice number. I come across right here. And I get this number. So this is 90. This is 102, 104, 106. So 106, obviously, 106 can't be the number that you're putting in here. You can't put 106 here at all. So who can tell me what I should do with this 106 to get the amount of students here? Let me see. Let me see who will get it for us. So 106, right? So I see, good. So remember this curve is called the cumulative frequency curve, right? Meaning you keep adding on and on and on. Say if at here is 106, that means when I add this, if I add 12 and 24, I'll get 36, 36 plus 46, I'll get 82, and 82 plus something will give me 106. So it will be 106 minus 82, which will give me 24. I remember it's a cumulative frequency curve. And then, of course, I know the total will be 120, so I don't need to do anything else. I know 12 plus 24 plus 46 plus 24 plus 2 will give me 108 minus 120 will give me 12 here for the remainder. I remember it's a cumulative frequency curve. All right. So I just go back one time. All right, let me do it back one time. So remember it's a cumulative frequency. It's a cumulative frequency curve, eh? So if the distance that I want, the midpoint is 1.75. So I go the distance here, which is 1.75. I go up and across, and I get 106. So 106 is the cumulative, is the, how can I call it, the cumulative frequency at that point. So 106 is the cumulative frequency at that point. So if I add up, remember cumulative frequency means you keep adding on and on and on and on, right? So if I add 12 and 24, I'll get 12 and 24, give me 36. 36 plus 46 will give me 82. And then when I add something to 82, I should get the 106. So 82 plus 24 will give me the 106. And then, of course, this remainder here, the only thing missing would be this value here. And I know when I add up all of this, I should get 120. All right, so when you add up all of this, and you minus it from 120, you get this remainder, which is 12. So I got 36. So that I made a mistake. Let me see, 30 and 6. All right, let me see what they, let me see, let me go to this 12 and see what they use to plot the 12. Let me see if they use 0.25 or 0.5. So let me see, 12, 0.5, I go up, and I go across, and that will actually give me, this is 12. So they're actually using this here to plot, right? These things here to plot, and not the midpoint as I use. So I have to check this back. So I actually have to use 2.0 to plot it. So let me see, 2.0. So instead of 1, I have to use 2.0 instead of 1.7. So I go 2.0 and I go up and across. So I go up straight here and I go across there. And that will give me right in the middle here. So this is 100. This will be obviously 110. So here will be, this is 112, 114. So this will be between 112 and 114. So this will be 113. So 113 is the cumulative frequency. All right, and not 106 as I had just now. So the same thing, 36, 12 and 24 is 36. 36 plus 24 would give me 36 plus 40. 46 would give me 82. So 82 minus 113. And that will give me 31. And then this answer also, you got to change. So 12 plus 24 plus 46 plus 31 plus 2 will give me 87. This will give me 115. 115 minus 120 will give me 5 here as the answer. All right, so yeah, so the thing is, you got to be careful, right? So what I did just now, the mistake that I made, I used the midpoint to get the cumulative frequency. So instead of using the midpoint, I just double checked it to make sure to see what they use to get these values here. So in order to get the 12, you see they use 0.5. If you go 0.5 on the graph, if you go 0.5 on the graph and you go up and across, you'll get the 12. And so that is what you have to use these numbers at these endpoints here to get the corresponding number of students. Remember, this is a cumulative frequency, so you keep adding on from the number at the top. So 12 and 24, you keep adding on and on to get this value here. So that one, you need to be careful with that one. All right. So let's go. So to find the midpoint now, it will be not midpoint. F times X is just the midpoint times the F. So 1.75, 1.75 times 2 to the 1. That would give me 54.25. And 2.25 times 5 would give me 112.5. And then they ask us to estimate the mean. All right, estimate the mean. So earlier we know that to find the mean, it's simply the sum of f of x divided by the sum of f. So all we need to do the sum of f times x. Why did I say f of x? Sum of f times x. All we need to do is add up all these values here. So this will be 3 plus 18 plus 57.5 plus 54.25 plus 112.5 plus 5.5. And that would give us a value of 250.75. Yeah, I'll double check my maths. Oh, so this would be 11 point. It's 11.25, eh? So it's 2.5 that. So let me just have 2.25 times 5. Yeah, 11.25. So that means I have to add this. So this will now be 3 plus 18 plus 57.5 plus 54.25 plus 11.25 plus 5.5. So that should give me 149.5. Is that correct? 149.5. Is that math correct? All right. So 149.5 all divided by the total number of students, which will be sum of f. We found that to be, I think it's 120. So you can either add up all the f. All right, this will be 120. So divided by 120. Hence, this will be, did they tell us wrong it off? So this will be 1.24583. So normally in front of the paper, they will say you wrong it off correct too. 3 significant figures. So this will be 1.25 as the mean. Right, 1.25. For 3 marks. All right, a lot of work for 3 marks. So be careful with these kind of questions. Let's carry on. This is another year. So this one says a school nurse records the height HCM of each of 150 students in class A who was vaccinated. The table below shows the information. Complete the table below and use information to calculate an estimate of the mean height of students. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So once again, another year, they asked us to find the mean again, right? So I think that went for 3 marks. We got to complete the table and then do that. So in this case, you just got to put in the midpoint and f times x. So the midpoint would simply be 120 plus 140. 360 divided by 2 will give us 130. And then f times x would be 67 times 130, which will be 8,710. All right. So let's find the mean. So we should be versed in finding the mean now. So the mean is the sum of f of x, f times x divided by the sum of f. So we got to add up f times x again. So this will be 280 plus 1,800 plus 3,850 plus 8,710 plus 3,000. $680. That will give us a value of 18,320. And then the sum of f. Did they give us the amount of students? Actually, no, they didn't give us. So we gotta do some addition. But they did give us at the top. Actually, yeah, 150, eh? So 150. But let's just add it, just, if you're not sure, you can just add it to 4 plus 20 plus 35 plus 67 plus 20 plus 4. You should get 150, not 120, 150. So 150. So the mean would simply be this divided by this. So 18,320 divided by 150, which will give us 122.13333, and the total is the wrong letter, correct the one decimal place. So this is 122.1. All right, 122.1. My Wi-Fi will be the death of me. All right. All right, now we looking, now we looking. So I see as well, I gotta wear my glasses now, eh? Squinting. How we looking, chat? Anybody here on YouTube since the beginning? You have anybody from YouTube since the beginning? Anybody on TikTok since the beginning? Since the beginning of the life? Anybody? Now join, sir. Both. Yeah, be all right. What school you are from, by the way? I know I asked the persons on YouTube already. What school you are from? All right. Fort Moran, BV, tutorial, Zeeburg. So how you got 130? Just add up these two numbers and divide it by 2 to get the midpoint, eh? So let's go. So this one now, for 1 mark, in class B, the mean height of students is 123.5, and the standard deviation is 29.87. For class A, the standard deviation is 21.38. Using the information provided and your response in A, comment on the distribution of the heights of the students in both class A and class B. So in CXC, they don't when as it relates to standard deviation, you're not asked to calculate the standard deviation. What you have to know to do is to interpret what the standard deviation means. All right? That is the important thing for you to know. To interpret what standard deviation means. So the standard deviation is like, as I told my students last night, I'll use the same example since it's fresh in my head. If I'm to calculate the salary of five students, and one of the students is family with not salary. If I'm to calculate the amount of money that students bring to school every day, right? And one of the students is Elon Musk's family daughter or something, right? And everybody carrying $2,000, $2,000, and then Elon Musk's family could bring it to school $1 million a day, right? Just random. And you find the average. The average would be like, close to 900,000, right? But that average of 900,000, that is not telling you, that is not a good representation of the average amount of students, the average amount that they bring to school. So this is where the standard deviation comes in. The standard deviation will tell you how good of a mean. Remember, the mean is the average, right? The standard deviation will tell you how good of a representation that mean is to the average amount for students. So that is what the standard deviation tells you. You don't need to know to calculate that. If you calculate, you calculate it all day, right? But you need to understand what it means. So to answer this question, we see in class A, and the lower the standard deviation, the better the mean is as a representation, all right? The smaller the standard deviation, the more the numbers are bundled up around the mean. For example, in class B, we have a mean of 123.5 and a standard deviation of 29.87. And in class A, we have a mean of, class A mean there? Class B, the mean height is 123 for class A. Anyway, so class B, so the mean is 123.5 again, and the standard deviation in this case is 21.38. So as you can see in class A, while the mean is the same for both. They both have different standard deviation. And if you look at it, the standard deviation for class B is greater than the standard deviation for class A. So they ask you to comment on this. So what this lower standard deviation is telling you, the numbers are closer to the mean. The numbers in this class, the heights, they are closer to the mean because of this small standard deviation. And this larger one will tell you the numbers are more spread out. All right, so to answer this question, for 1 mark, remember CXC, they want to give you this 1 mark. All right, they want to give you. So all you need to do is state something as it relates to that spread. All right, that is all. As they want to give you. As long as you have something, as it relates to the spread, they'll give you. So to answer the question, we'll say the heights of the students in class A are less spread out as compared to class B. All right, the reason why the heights of the students in class A are less spread out because the standard deviation is smaller. When the standard deviation is smaller, that means, it's less spread. So that's all you need to do for a 1 mark, right? That's all you need to do for that 1 mark. All right, nothing big and fancy. Just need to comment on the spread. So 1 mark there. They want the CSEC, they want to give this 1 mark. They don't want to take it from you. So let's continue. So let me throw this one up on screen. And I'll be back in 30 seconds. So drop the answers for these here in the chat, the cumulative here and here, and I'll be back in 30 seconds. All right, so we're back. Yeah, so we're back. So I have a goal on TikTok, eh? I have a goal. I have a follower goal. I don't know. This is the first time I'm coming live on TikTok. If you don't follow me yet on TikTok, yeah, follow. Click follow so we can reach this goal at the end of this live. So let's go. Complete the frequency table. So the cumulative frequency. So let's say we start off with 4, then we add 20 to it. That's how we get the 24. And then we add the 35 to the 24. So 35 plus 24. That's how we get 59. So here would be 59. And then we add 67 to the 59. That'll give us 126. And then we add 20 to the 126. That will give us 146, which will go here, 146. And we add 4 to the 146 will give us 150. So cumulative frequency means you keep adding the previous number to the one below, right? So you start off with 4, you add 20 to the 4, you get 24. You add 35 to the 24, you get 59. So that is all there is for cumulative frequency. And this went for 1 mark. All right, nice and easy 1 mark. So use information, use your cumulative frequency curve to find an estimate of the median height. So where's the cumulative frequency curve? Oh, complete the cumulative frequency curve to construct the frequency curve in the grid provided on page 19. So let me see. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So yeah, so I have to construct this. So let me construct it. So they already have some points marked off here. So you see they have 80 and they went up to, this looks like 2, 4. So that means they're using this here and this, well, this here and this, the cumulative frequency. And then next, they should have 100 and they should go all the way to 24. So let's see. 100, and then they went all the way to, if here's 20, 22, 24, indeed. So next one we have to do, we have to go to 120 and then go all the way to 59. So 120, which is here, And then I go all the way to 59. So 120. Here is 50. Here is 60. And we're counting in twos. 52, 54, 58, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60. So 59 should be right in between there, right in the middle. So let me put a dot right in the middle there. And then the next one they want is 140. So that should go all the way to 126. So 140 should go all the way to 126. So 140 is here. So I'll draw straight up here. I'll go all the way to 126. So they already marked it off for me. Next one is 160 should go all the way to 146. 160 should go all the way to 146. So here's 160. So I'll go all the way up here to 146. So here's 140, 142, 144, 146. So I'll be right here and I'll mark off there. And last but not least, 180 go all the way to 150, which is the last thing here. So that is that. So I have to connect now to complete this cumulative frequency curve. So your cumulative frequency curve should come something like this, something like this and finish like that. So I'll start off with 0 at the bottom here. So it should come smoothly. So let me see. Go all the way here, come through. Nope. Go all the way through here, come through here, come up all the way here. All right, we're looking good. Then come up all the way here. And I should come to finish there and then finish off right there. And that's my cumulative frequency, right? Excellently drawn. All right. Beautiful curve. How the curve looking? How the curve looking? Good. How the curve looking? Right, best curve you'll ever see in the history of CSEC mathematics. One of the best curve. Rate the curve out of 100 for me. All right. If me get a grade 1, I gotta get a grade 2. Okay, you're on it. Curve looking wonky ponky. Somebody said minus 100. All right, the person is a hater. Jerry? Jerry, you're a hater. All right. Because of Jerry, I'm gonna buy a sticker and put at the back of my car. Yeah, I think I should put at the back of my car because of Jerry. What is the thing you'll see people put at the back of the car? Anyway, so let's go. So use the curve and estimate the median. So we already know to find the median. We did this a lot just now. So you have 150 students. So the median would be the middle of 150. So 150 divided by 2 would give us 75. So remember to find the median, as I told you just now, for those who are not now joining, when you're finding median, interquartile range, semi-interquartile range, Q1, Q2, you always got to finish at the bottom here, right? So the median is 75. So if here is 70, here is 80, 75 would obviously be right in the middle. So here would be 75. So to find the median, I go all the way across here. You use your ruler in this case, but I don't have a ruler. To the curve, and then you come all the way down, right? Come all the way down, so to right here. Remember, it's an estimate, so your answer should be there or there wrong. This answer. So here's 120, here's 140, here will obviously be 130. So 130, 122, 124, 126, 128, 130. So here will be 126. So the median height would be 126, right? 126 cm. All right, next one for 1 mark. the probability, so I have to use the cumulative frequency curve and estimate the probability that a student chosen at random would be taller than 130. Taller than means greater than, right? Taller than means 130, above 130, right? Taller than 130. So let me go to the curve again. So 130. So 130, I just found that to be here. So I drew up. So I see this is on this straight line here. Then I come across, which is right on this line. Should be like right here. So all the students taller than 130 would be, so here's 90. Here will always be 92, 94, 90, yeah, 92. So remember 92, all the students taller than 140, as those of you that joined earlier, you will know that'll be all the students over here. All the students that fall on this side of the cumulative frequency, right? All of the students here. So in order to find that answer, it will be 150 minus 92, which will give me 150 minus 92 will give me 58. So 58. So 58 students are taller than 140. So the probability taller than 130 would be, so I know the top I'll have 58 over the total number of students, which would be 150. So when I break this down, I'll have 58 divided by 2 will give me 29. 150 divided by 2 is 75. So 29 divided by 75. 29 over 75. So that's the probability. 29 over 75. Is it 29? 58 divided by 2. 58 divided by 2. Yeah, 29. Saw somebody at 27. 29, right? Somebody say off topic, but is 130 very short? Hey. Well, like, our teenagers are very funny individuals. I know that. Very funny individual. Like, that was so random, right? Ah, and I don't know if 130 is sharp. I'm probably but one. I don't know. I have no idea. 130. All right, that should be good now. All right, Dart, see, everybody here now? That should be good. All right, I have to adjust something. Can you hear me? Uh, Folks, can you hear me on YouTube, TikTok? Be loud and clear. Not sure what happened just now. Can you hear me now? Okay, good. Not sure what went wrong. So the cumulative frequency curve below shows the information about the times taken by 200 students to solve a mathematics Olympiad problem. So we're using a graph again. So I think I'll end off at this question because I think I'll end off here. So this is the last question. All right. So let's go. So using the cumulative frequency curve above, find an estimate for the number of students who took more than 50 minutes to solve. Who took more than 50 minutes, right? Don't sleep on that word. More than 50 minutes. More than. So 50 minutes and above. All right, 50 minutes and above. So let's see. So 50 minutes is here. So to find the number of students attached to that 50 minutes, we know we got to go up and across to find the amount of students here. So 50 is here. So this is a nice line. So we travel all the way up on this line. So we stop there. And then we come across from that line to find the amount of students who had direct 50 minutes. So the amount of students is right here. So you do all the hard work. So don't lose marks because you don't know to read this here. Quick question. So I see. Well, let me adjust this thing on TikTok. Uh, so I guess it's not showing on TikTok. All right, so let me just adjust this here now, and it should show in a few seconds. Yeah, you should be seeing it now, right? My bad. Yeah, you should be seeing it now. All right, so yeah. So you go up from 50. So we answering the question, number of students who took more than 50 minutes to solve the problem. So we go up from 50 and we come across, and we would finish right here. So if here's 180 and here's 200, I think we counted in fours to meet 200. So 184, 188, 192, 196, and then 200. So here is 196. So 196 students took direct 50 minutes. So they want the students who took more than 50 minutes. So the students who took more than 50 minutes would be this little piece of students who are at the top here. So it's not 196, it would be 200 minus 196, because that would give us all the students who fall at the top here and more than the 50 minutes, all the students who fall around here. So we need to minus this 196 from the 200 to get those students. So that would be 4. So 4 students. And those who are here from the beginning, you're good to go. All right. So the median time taken to solve this problem. So once again, median time, you already know what to do. Median, when you think about median, interquartile range, semi-interquartile range, we finishing at the bottom here. All right, you come across and then you finish at the bottom here. So the median time taken would be, the middle of 200 would be 100. So we go to the 100, we draw across from the 100, a nice line there. And then we come down from the 100. And this will give us the median time taken. So the median time taken, say if here is 30, here will obviously be 35. So look as though we're counting in one. So 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So the median time taken would be 33 minutes. All right, 33 minutes. All right, 33, not 34. Now it's an estimate, eh? So, yeah, but my estimate should be correct, yeah. So depending on your graph, you should be about around this answer. Some people even get 33.5. I don't know. But yeah, you want to be around here though. Close as possible to here. Because it's an estimate, meaning your answer should be close to the correct answer. All right. So that was that. Let me make this screen a bit bigger. Good. Next one, probability that a student chose at random took at most. So at most 28 minutes. At most 28 minutes. At most 28 minutes. So keyword at most, to those who are here since the beginning, you know what at most means. At most 28 minutes. So let's go to 28 minutes. So if here is 20, here will obviously be 25. So 26, 27, 28. So here's 28. So we go up from the 28. And then we come across. So here would be, we counted in 4, so there would be 64. So the thing is, the question says at most. So just I give you all an example. Yikes. So give an example just now when we talk about at most. All right. At most, when something says at most means, if I tell you if you and your friend going out today, the most money I bring is 5,000. At most means 5,000 and below. At most means that number and below. So at most 28 minutes. So 64 students, don't need to do anything when it's at most. 64 students, all the students below here. All the students below here took at most 64 minutes. That's 64, at most 28 minutes. All right, so we don't need to do anything to that 64. So this will simply be the probability. At most, it simply be 64 divided by the total number of students that we have in the Olympiad, which is 22. 64 over 22. 200. Tired. 64 divided by 200. 64 divided by 200. 64 divided by 2 would give us 32. 100 divided by 200 divided by 2 is 100. 32 divided by 2 is 16. It's 50. 8. This will be 25. So 8 over 25. All right. Can this go further? Nah, this can't go any further. All right, 8 over 25 is the answer. At most was the key there. TikTok and YouTube actually got the same amount of people. And let's finish off with this last question. Last one with this cumulative frequency table. So this one was similar to the one that we did just now. So it says using the cumulative frequency on page 13, complete the table below. So we have the frequency. And we have to put in here and here. So what we need to do, we need to go back to the curve. And let's see what they use. The first thing to start off with is 12. So let's see how they arrive at that 12. 12 is here. So they actually use 10. They go up from 10 and they come across and they get the 12 right here. All right, so they're using these numbers at the end here to plot. So that's how we get the 12. So the next one, we got to use the 20 to get the cumulative frequency for here. So we go to 20. We go to 20. Then we come across. So that's like the halfway there. So that is there. So what number is that? So here's 20. We think we counted in fours, 24, 28, 32. And next one would be 32. We counted in four. So if it's in the middle, we just gotta count 2. So this would be 34. So the cumulative frequency here is 34. The number that we put in here is not 34. Remember, this is a cumulative frequency curve. And for the cumulative frequency, we keep adding as we go along. So we add a number to the 12 to get the 34. So that is the number that we put in here. The number that we add to get the 34, that's what we put it in. So we can say 34 minus 12 would give us 22. So the number that is going here is 22. All right, because this is a cumulative frequency. Meaning when we add something to 12, we get 34. So when we add 22 to 12, we get 34, but we can't put that 34 there. We got to put the number that we add. All right. So that is that. So that is that for that one. Next one we want to find is this one here. So we go to 50 and we find the corresponding cumulative frequency for here. Actually, no, we don't need to do all of that because we know when we add up all the frequency, we should get 200. So we don't need to do all that work. So to find this last missing one, we just add up all of this and we subtract it from 200 to get this remainder here. So we gotta add 12 plus 22 plus 42 plus 84 plus 4. That will give us 164 minus 200. That should give us 36. So 36 is the one there. And then we just frequency times the midpoint. We just got to multiply these here to finish off the question. So 15.5 times 22. That would give us 341. 45.5 times 36. That would give us 1,638. And that was how we completed the table. So obviously they want us to estimate the average time. So as those of you who are here since the beginning, you know, they always ask you to find the average, right? And if you leave this live and you can't find the average, then you know you're in some serious trouble. So the mean or the average, if you want to say the average, since they use that word, is the sum of f of x divided by the sum of f. All right. So f times x, all I need to do is add up all these numbers here. So this would be 66 plus 341 plus 1071 plus 2982 plus 1638 plus 222. That should give us 6320. That's what we got. All right, lovely. So this would be 6320 divided by the sum of f, which is 200. So divided by 200, that would give us 31.6. 31.6. Nice. So or would this video be on YouTube? Yeah, the video I was on YouTube. So 31.6. And I think that was 3 marks to complete the table, giveaway marks, 2 marks to find the mean. And I think we'll end off there. I'll end off there. That is a good way to end off. Probably I'll come back live again. But this time, next time I come back, I'll come with some company. If they're watching, they're excited when they hear that, you know. I'll come back with some company the next time I come back. Right? They're excited. I'm sure they're gonna come alive in the chat now when they hear that. Right? Anyways, so I'll end the live here. Assuming that it's Kamisha, yes, Kamisha, y'all. Referring to y'all. Anyways, I trust that you are in a better position. See you again whenever that is. Just follow on TikTok, YouTube. The YouTube name is so sorely omitted my name, right? My YouTube is my name, right? It's not, I don't have fancy names like, you know, whatever my name is, that is a name all over. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere is my name, right? It's not like, yeah, I won't put a dot or a butterfly, right? Anyways, so thank you all for joining. Trust that you learn. See you in the next live. Best of wishes in your exam. And for my students, I'll see you tonight in class. Maths non-stop. Now let's see, I'll end this live on TikTok. I don't know. Let me see. End live. Yeah. Oh, we still on YouTube. So YouTube, big up to all. Tiny Squash. How would I know who you are, Tiny Squash? Tiny Squash. Anyways, yeah, take care. Big up to all of my students, all of those that join. Large up yourself. Yeah, take care.